Hey all, I just managed to get my hands on the new DCS BF109K4 and I'm gonna give it a go. I've gone through the manual so far, I've set up all my controls, but this will be my first flight with it, so hopefully it doesn't end in a pile of wreckage, but no promises. As I go I'm gonna explain what I'm doing. It's just some stuff out of the manual and what I actually remember still after having gone through all of it. So here we go. Start off by putting in all of the breaker switches. It's the big black ones, not the little red ones. So turn that all on, and then while you're down here, put your radiator controls to auto, crack your oxygen. Now I'm going to go down here, make sure that my tail wheel is actually unlocked. That's this switch here. That's locked. That's unlocked. Crack the throttle, move your fuel over to P1 plus P2, magnetos to M1 plus M2. Crack the throttle slightly for starting again. And I think that's... oh! Elevator trim. We put that all the way down when we first start off the plane. That'll help keep the tail on the ground during taxiing. So there we go. The circle reads -6. And we're ready to tell the ground crew to start cranking. While they do that, I'm going to pump the fuel here, the primer. And as I do that, the fuel pressure gauge right up here is going to start going up. So we want to bring that to within the notch marks. So fuel pressure is good to go. Pop the starter switch. You can hear the engine is spinning up now. There'd actually be guys outside spinning that up for me. And pull the starter.
Colt 1-1. Request taxi to runway.
Okay, so managed to actually get it fired up. That's a good start. Now, before I really get going, I'm going to take a minute to let my engine warm up. I'm going to check through all my gauges, make sure everything's good. So fuel pressure is within the marks, oil pressure is within the marks. My temperatures are still a bit low, but we just fired that up. I'm not going to worry about the radio controls right now. Now the propeller pitch starts in manual, it looks like, so I'm actually going to move that up to the 1230 position. And I'm going to run my engine up a little bit, just to put some heat into it. Okay, temperatures are getting close, so I'll fold the gun sight out of the way. Now I'm leaving my tail wheel unlocked while I taxi so that I have a little bit better turning ability. And I'm holding the stick back as well to make sure my tail stays on the ground. Now, unlike the Dora, this plane can't have the tail wheel locked just by holding the stick back. There's that little lever I showed earlier. I'm actually going to lock it now while I'm on the straight. You can see that smooths things up a lot for taxiing. So coming up to the corner, I'm unlocking the tail wheel again. And we'll try to line up straight on the runway. Okay, so double check the tail wheel is locked. Now the trim we have at -6 for takeoff, you want to bring it all the way back up to +1. And that'll help the plane pretty much fly itself off the ground. So +1 on the trim. Now bring it up to 2500 RPM and let it start rolling. Going to hold the stick back and to the right a little bit, and probably going to be needing some right rudder as well, and then just using the rudder to compensate. It's rotating already, and we're up. So now we raise the landing gear. Now that I'm up, I'm also going to put my propeller pitch all the way back to automatic, and you can see it's already moving itself there. And we'll bring my engine to cruise settings. Bring radiator to automatic. Temperatures are still good, fuel and oil pressure is still good. We'll open it up a little bit. Now turning on the MW50, you can even hear the engine picking up some more power. Incredibly nice feeling aircraft. So I'm going to see if I can put it down on that runway down there. Hopefully it works. There we go. Trick is to get the speed below 350, and then we can lower the gear. So airspeed below 350, lowering the landing gear. Both lights are green, so the landing gear is fully out. As we lose a little bit more speed at about 250, I can start putting my flaps out. Plane just doesn't want to slow down. 250, we're deploying the flaps. Double check gear, flaps. Engine condition is good, temperatures are low. And keeping the speed just above 200 on approach. I'm actually going to go back to manual propeller pitch and dial it up a bit in case I need some power to abort the landing. And chopping my throttle a fair bit, trying to bring it to about 180 right over the threshold. Okay, so that got a lot rougher than I thought, but it's down. The nose actually started pulling up on me a little bit there, so I'm going to have to trim down next time, and then it stalled out and bounced. But thankfully it didn't break any landing gear, which actually surprises me for that one. But we're down. So I'm going to start bringing up the flaps. We'll start taxiing off. I'm actually going to bring my elevator trim back down to -6 again. Thinking about that, I seem to recall that when the flaps are down, you may need to trim nose down a bit as well, so that could explain the rough landing. Now my temperatures are getting a bit high, so I'm actually going to open my radiators again. Unlock the tail wheel. And we'll find yourself a parking spot. Now the manual said if you're just landing, you don't want to shut your engine off right away. You want to let it run for a couple of minutes to cool down, but checking my temperature gauge is here again. It looks like the engine's already pretty cool. So we'll pull the engine stop switch, and when the engine cuts, let go. Return that, kill the electrical power. Magnetos back down, fuel back down. And then we pop out the breakers. And for a celebration, we'll fire off a flare. So that was my first run on this plane. It's a bit rough, of course, as you'd expect from a first run, especially in a sim like DCS, but overall, I gotta say, this thing feels amazing to fly. It's going to be a lot of fun multiplayer. I'd recommend everybody get it. It's going to be fun.